Hi, André.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us. It's amazing to have you here, and the result you achieved recently was amazing with the 10K mark. So I decided to invite you to this interview so you can share your experience and your lessons to help people who are in the same journey as you. Okay, so what's going to happen here with the interview is I'm going to ask you some questions, and you guys who are watching, if you have any questions along the way, drop them in the comments. And at the end of the interview, after I ask all the questions I want to ask, at the end, we are going to look at the comments and go through all those questions that you guys asked in the comments. Okay, so let's dive into it. So the first question I have for you is if you can share your story and how you got started into affiliate marketing.
Okay. I'll start by saying my name is Lesley Leone, not
Okay.
Leo. Um, it's Italian because
Oh,
my
you
husband,
have Italian family.
no, my husband, well, I guess I do in-laws, but my husband was Canadian Italian.
Awesome.
So, yeah, Leone. And that was probably why when I first came online, I had the lion on as my logo on some of my posts. I don't know if you remember.
I don't
Uh,
remember that.
don't remember that. Anyway, I did that because of the lion. Anyway, I came online in October of 2022. Um, my husband had died recently. I wasn't functioning very well. I think that would be probably an understatement. And a friend was very concerned about me and out of the blue suggested, why don't you come online and try affiliate marketing? And it actually sounded quite a good idea at the time. So I said yes. And he was a tech wizard, absolute tech geek. And I obviously wasn't thinking clearly at the time because grief does do funny things to you the way you deal with things.
Yeah.
And I never questioned it to begin with. My kids did. My kids said, "My God, you have got the technology capacity of a 12-year-old. How are you going to be able to do all this stuff?" Anyway, I didn't worry about it too much. And the first month was whizzed by. There was so much to learn, but there was a lot of problems that started to come to light. I would probably say at the 4 week mark. The the program was American. The training wasn't at conducive times to me. A lot of it was at 1 o'clock in the morning. Um, People always were ill, so a lot of the trainings were cancelled. So I never seemed to be making any progress. And the technology side of it, the setting up the domains, the setting up the autoresponders, and I was doing all this stuff. And it sounds incredibly crazy now that I say it, but I didn't actually know what I was doing. I
Yeah.
hadn't even joined the dots about affiliate marketing. And people say that you must have been living under a rock about affiliate marketing, but I wasn't. I just wasn't on social media. So I came online and found this whole world of thousands and thousands of people making money online. And when and this is one of the problems that I've found continuously along is when you say to someone that you're a beginner, their idea of a beginner is not the same as my idea of a beginner because a lot of people forget what it was like being a beginner. And when I say I didn't have a Facebook profile, I didn't have um, any idea about affiliate marketing, I really don't think they believe me because there was all this jargon that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
So it became to be a nightmare. And I got to about 3 to 4 months in, and I really was no further forward. I had started building a website. Um, I was hosting it. I was paying a lot of money for all these different things. I think about $800, $900 in total.
Per
And
month?
yeah, well, the site ground was quite expensive for the hosting, and I had to pay for the year up front, plus
Okay.
the program that I had bought into. So probably in total about $1,500 I'd spend. And at the end of 4 months, the anxiety that it was giving me was indescribable.
Yeah.
I was so stressed about it. And my kids kept telling me that I wasn't cut out for it. But I was determined I wasn't going to give into it. I was going to give it a good go. So second time around, I did my homework a little bit better, and I didn't rely on the guidance from anyone else. I trusted my own due diligence. And that's when I came across OLSP.
Okay, let me pause you there before we go to that part, so we can comment a bit on what you already shared with all the struggles that you had. So basically, you started your affiliate marketing journey without having any idea of what affiliate marketing was, and you were not using social media at the time. You didn't have a Facebook profile. You didn't have any
Only
of that.
Instagram.
Sorry?
Only Instagram.
Okay. So tech was a big roadblock for you, and the first program you joined was right away tech. Let's build a website.
I
Let's
have to hear.
let's set up a domain. Let's set up a professional email. Let's set up email sequences. So let's do all of that tech.
Yes.
And so the challenge for you with the tech was not understanding it and also not being able to make progress because you got stuck.
Um, well, it probably would have helped if I could have joined the dots of what I was trying to accomplish, because everything was done in little steps rather than just seeing the big picture and
Okay.
being able to take a step back. Um, it wasn't like that. It was all I got on coaching calls, or it was community coaching. It wasn't coaching calls like we have. And and I actually didn't understand what we were trying to achieve. I didn't understand what the product did. I do now, but back then I didn't. And if I'd known what the product did, and if I'd known about affiliate marketing and anything to do with it, I would have known that it was a very, very niche down market.
Hmm. So when you started, it was basically you trusted the recommendation of your friend without doing too much research. You just
I didn't
jumped
do
into
any
it.
research.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
And
didn't
and
do
that's
any
be
research.
that's because you trusted that person, of
Yes,
course. Yeah.
yes, yes,
Um. Okay. So
yeah.
what was going through
It
your
makes me
mind?
feel really stupid now.
We learn from those experiences. So it's
Absolutely.
it's it's amazing that you went through that because you learned a lot. So if you didn't go through that, probably we're not here right now. So that's all part of the journey. Um, one thing I want to ask you, and you talked a bit about this, about what you were feeling when you were having those tech challenges, because this is a problem a lot of people face. A lot of people jump online, and a lot of programs online teach the tech right away. The first thing they teach is let's set up a funnel, let's set up an autoresponder, let's build an email sequence, let's buy a domain, let's set up a professional email, SMTPs, so all that tech stuff. How did you feel during that time, during those 3, 4 months? So it was not a short period of time, it was 3, 4 months. So that's a long period of time that you were in that phase. How did you feel during that phase?
Um, it was very stressful, and I got very anxious about it. I mean, it kept me awake at night worrying about it, what I was doing. And it's interesting because today I was doing something and my son came through and he said, "You've got to understand, you can press a button on a computer and you're not going to break anything. You know, you can undo what you did." But back then, and I know that with my phones and all that, and I'm not that naive. But because I was doing things like building websites and didn't know anything about it, I was frightened to almost do anything. And I would talk to support, put a support ticket in, it'd take 24 hours for it to come back. It would be on my mind all
Yeah.
day,
Yeah.
doing my day job. And when I came to have to log on, I mean, it was incredibly stressful. The whole thing was stressful. It was really bad news. And the fact that it stopped me sleeping made me realize that I
Yeah.
had to do something different, because nothing was worth that level of anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And when so what was the turning point for you? What made you realize, okay, this is not for me, or this approach is not working for me? What was the perspective shift you had at the time? What was there a light bulb moment that you had at the time that made you realize that the tech was not the solution for you?
I think it was when I realized I wasn't making any progress building my website, and I'd spent all the money on all this stuff, not seeing any progress. And I knew it just wasn't working. If I couldn't build a website, why was I even, there had to be an easier way. And I think that was the light bulb moment. I saw people on Facebook having success and they weren't doing technology side of anything. They were talking about using done for you programs and using Facebook organic. Now, I didn't go down the Facebook organic route because I didn't really understand what it was. I didn't even have sales and marketing background. I came from a compliance and governance. It was all beyond me. But the fact that I was paying monthly for my autoresponder, and my site hosting was annual. There was something else that was monthly. I just thought, this is ridiculous. This is money going out the door, and I'm not seeing any results. I'm not making any progress. And my website's no closer to, well, it's no one ever visited my website because I never built it. It never got finished. You know, how crazy is that after all the money I spent?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was probably the light bulb moment, seeing other people having this success. And I was reading some of their posts and I thought, gosh, if they can do that, surely I can do it. I just need to find the right one.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was a lot of struggle and a lot of costs that you had, not just money, but also time, energy,
Yes.
and you were always anxious, which is not good for your health.
No.
So
and I was doing it every night after work, and I used to spend most of my weekends trying to get this websites and all this stuff working.
Yeah.
And my kids told me to throw in the towel, give it up.
And what stopped you from giving up?
Because I'm a fighter.
Awesome.
Basically, I don't want to admit defeat.
That's amazing.
And that was the first time I felt like giving up. And there's been a second time, which I guess we'll get to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was determined to make a success of it.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's an amazing trait to have is persistence, is not giving up. Even when it looks like we have a very big wall in front of us, but we still push through and we still keep going. That's so important to have.
Yes. Well, I have a big why, Andre. It's only me.
Yeah.
You know, I have to take care of me. There's no one coming to save me. So if I don't do it, no one's going to do it.
Yeah.
And I can't be a burden on my kids.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for sharing. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. So basically you spent all these 4 months with tech and then you started seeing, okay, maybe this is not for me. Maybe I need to look for something else. And that's where you were talking about OLSP. Can you tell us a bit more about the next steps you took and what you did from that point?
Well, I found OLSP and I joined a live webinar that Wayne did. And yeah, he's a good sales guy, really good. And he's really good on his webinars. And I'd already joined on a $47 ticket.
Mm-hmm.
So this was before the new platform. And the training was fantastic. It was group training, but they had some really experienced people, patient experienced people who understood what it was to be a beginner. And we used to go, I joined all the trainings. I became so religious about joining the trainings, and it was so easy. And you know, I was promised that I would see commissions so early, and within 3 days, I made my first commission. By I think it was 5 weeks, I'd made $80. And admittedly, this was a lot of the system doing the heavy lifting for me.
Mm-hmm.
But having had the previous 5 months, this was miraculous to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so motivating to keep going. So I went on this live webinar and Wayne was pitching his different products. And I put my name in the hat and I got a call with Wayne. So we had a long chat one Saturday morning for about 2 hours and I was sold on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I signed up, lock, stock, and barrel, and committed myself to it. And the fact that everything was done for me, it was wonderful. All I had to do was write a few emails, make a few posts, but my posts were, well, what would I say my posts are? Motivational quotes.
Mm-hmm.
And I got lots of emojis, likes, hearts, lots of sticker comments. And I thought this was great that this was happening like this. But I still wasn't understanding the marketing side.
Yeah.
I still hadn't got there. And at that time, Facebook organic wasn't really promoted in OLSP,
Mm-hmm.
and I started looking around for different coaches and came across quite a few coaches that were joined their groups. It was probably about that time I joined your group,
Yeah.
um, and a few other groups, and it was really quite interesting. But at the same time as I was doing that, I also made a couple of high ticket commissions, two and a half
Yeah.
thousand dollars each commission.
See, because of the system was doing the work for you.
Yeah, I mean, not 100% because one guy I was talking to for 5 months in email.
Mm.
And I know they say, you should talk to one to many, but it wasn't a full-time thing, and it was a bit of a still a side hustle that I could play at. And I talked to this guy for 5 months, and eventually he bought VIP, so I made a nice commission off of him. And in fact, just recently he got and he never did anything. That's the important thing. He spent all that money and he has never ever done anything. And I got an email from him, I think just before, probably about October time, asking me if I would like to go to the US and spend 3 months with him and his wife and teach them how to get OLSP up and running, which of course I didn't. I couldn't do that. Um, so the system didn't do the heavy lifting for him. It was my hard work, 5 months talking to him in email, that
Okay.
he eventually signed up because of the relationship him and his wife had developed with me,
Yeah. Okay.
which was a powerful learning.
Yeah, because there you saw a big lesson, which is the power of relationships.
Yes.
Um, because when we just send people to a system, and we wait for the system to make sales for us, of course we are not going to convert as many people as we convert if we are talking with those people, because we are talking to them, building a relationship with them, building trust with them, and we can really increase the number of sales that we make for the same number of people that we have seeing the offer, for example. So we increase the conversion rate, we get more sales for the same number of offers that we present, and that allows you to accelerate your growth. So you started realizing the importance of developing your skills, because at the beginning you did the opposite of that. It was just tech, and you were not worried about how to market, how to sell, and you quickly
Oh,
realized.
I did actually come into it.
You realized with your experience, and this is something I realized in my journey as well, is that tools by themselves don't work if we don't have the skills to make them work. Yes, we can get lucky and make some sales with a done for you system, but if we want consistent results, we need to have the sales to market and sell that system or anything that we are promoting. So in my journey, it was not because I was not tech savvy. My problem was that I was tech savvy and I loved it. So I spent not 4 months. I think it was a bit less than that, but I spent a few months um, with tech because I loved it and I want to set up all the bells and whistles to have the best funnels, the best email sequences, all the tracking, all the domains, all those things. So for me, it was the comfort zone, and as it was my comfort zone, I kept doing it, and I then after a few months I realized, okay, I'm doing all of this and I'm not making money. What's happening?
Yeah.
And
So
then
we both had the same epiphany for
yeah,
different reasons.
yeah. For me it was because I was tech savvy. For you it was not. You were not. It was because you were not tech savvy. But yeah, the epiphany I had at the time was I was spending all that time with tech and I was not developing my skills to market and sell a product. And tools by themselves don't work if we don't have the skills to make them
Yes.
work. And that's a big realization I had at the time. It's the same light bulb moment you had in your journey, and it's important that you guys understand this. You guys watching, that if you want to make consistent sales with your business, of course you can have a done for you system and not have any skills in marketing and sales, and someone clicks on your link, and as the system is tested and converts, you can make some sales that way. Yes, it happens. Okay, but if you want sustainability in your business, if you want to have a business that generates consistent results, you need to know how to market and sell. So you are able to um, grow an audience of the right people that are a good fit for the system with your target customers. So you can nurture that audience so they start trusting you. So you can present offers to that audience and monetize that audience. Those are all skills that are necessary to build a business that is sustainable and generates consistent results. So that's a very important lesson that you shared there. With that, okay. Okay, so you made that sale with the person you were talking with via email, and
Yes.
you were starting to use Facebook at that time. So you started doing some Facebook organic marketing. Probably you didn't call it Facebook organic marketing at the time, but you started trying to promote the OLSP system on Facebook.
And I started producing value posts.
Okay.
So I would go to ChatGPT and say, what does an affiliate marketer need to be successful? And I used to call ChatGPT Big Pete. So Big Pete would spew out all this stuff and I'd put it in a post. And the only thing I would change would be I wouldn't put the emojis in.
Okay.
Now I wouldn't do that now. I
Okay.
use ChatGPT to write my cold emails and different things, but not to write my content. But what I hadn't realized at the time, and I see it now all the time, the amount of people that do that.
Yes, a
And
lot
I
of
don't even
people.
stop and look at those posts. I, motivational posts, because I was an expert on motivational posts. I could put a post up 5 a day on
Yeah.
motivation. But I can tell you one thing, for all that motivation, when you have a horrible thing going on in your life, that motivation doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's worthless. So the best thing I ever did was stop doing the motivational quotes and all of that. But at the beginning, I joined OLSP in the March of 23.
Okay.
And I think, the first few months I loved it. And it was a side hustle. I wasn't looking at it really as a business.
Mm-hmm.
And I still had my day job and all of that was still going fine. But once you have made high ticket sales like that, you want more of them.
Yeah.
This is some of the problem. And I hadn't even reached the point in my journey there about helping people. I was just interested in doing the sales,
Okay.
which seems self-serving, but at the end of the day, I came online to make money to help pay the bills. And that, even to this day, is what I'm here for. But my whole mindset has changed now. But back in March 2023, it was all about making money.
Yeah. And that's a common mindset that people have when they jump online. And for me, it was the same. And it's normal because when we jump online, our goal is to make more money. It's because we are not happy with our situation or something is happening or we want to make more money and we want to have a better life. Our goal is always to make money. But money comes as a result of us helping people. And that's
Absolutely.
the light bulb moment that usually people have, and when that really clicks is when things start growing in their businesses. Is when they see, okay, for me to be able to grow my business, that's related to the amount of people I'm helping daily, because the more people I help, the more people will trust me, the more people will be open to my help, and the more I will be able to present my solution and make sales. So that's a big lesson that is important to learn. It's putting other people first. It's focusing on helping them without asking for anything in return. And that I talk a lot about that in my lives. We need to help people without asking for anything in return. We need to give without asking for anything in return. And that's not easy to understand when we are starting, because we want to make money. But when that really clicks, that's when usually people start growing their businesses and making more sales. Is when they stop focusing on the sale and they focus on people and helping them solve the problems they have, give them value, answer their questions, give them tips to help them. That's when really their businesses start growing. And um, it's and it's important to keep in mind that even if you are helping people, you are helping people every day, and a lot of those people that you are helping will never buy from you. And that's totally cool, because you are still helping them and making an impact on their life, in their business, whatever you are helping people with. Okay? So it's it's having this mindset of I'm just giving. I'm not here to take anything. And when you have that mindset of just giving and I'm not here to take anything, that's when sales come to you. That's when the sales happen. So that's a very important lesson.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you were using Facebook, you were posting some content that you were using you were using ChatGPT to create that content, generic content, and you talked about that, and that's important, an important note to make, which is if we do the same thing as everyone else, if we say the same stuff, if we produce the same content, there's no reason for people to pay attention to us. So when I look at my Facebook feed and I see all this content that is all the same, it's very hard to stand out. It's very, very hard to stand out. It's very hard to grow your business when you are doing that, okay? Because if you are sharing a post that someone else can copy and paste, why would they go to you instead of going to someone else? There's no reason for them to go to you. So it's
Well, and
important.
ChatGPT is free.
Yeah. So anyone can go there and
Yeah.
get information. So it's important that our content is not just information, and that's a big lesson I learned in my journey. um, it's important that our content is not just information. It's important that it has uniqueness. And how can you create uniqueness? With stories, with sharing who we are, sharing experiences and things we went through in our journeys. Okay, and I see a lot of your posts now. You share a lot about the tech struggles that you had at the beginning of your journey. Okay, so that's how we create uniqueness in our brands and we stand out. Is when we share stories and people read the story from our pieces of content and they start relating to that story. They start seeing, okay, this person understands me. That's the goal that we want to achieve with our content, is showing people that we understand them. So we need to create uniqueness by putting ourselves out there and sharing our stories, and then at the same time showing our audience that we understand them because we went through what they are going through. We solved the problems they are trying to solve right now. For example, you right now, you solved your tech problem by finding another way, and you are helping people who are struggling with tech right now. So that's the journey. It's always um, learning something, implementing something in our businesses, and then teaching and sharing and helping people who are behind us in the journey overcome those problems that we were able to overcome. But yeah, to stand out, it's very important that we put ourselves out there, share our stories, share our journeys. When we want to share a lesson, that it's important that we use a story from our journey. It's much more powerful when we use a story to share a lesson than just information. Okay. For example, if we want to share the importance of focus, I could go to ChatGPT and grab a post where it says why focus is important, 3 reasons why focus is important, and it's just information. Or I could use a story from my journey, and I have a story like that where I was not focused and I struggled to get results. I had a light bulb moment that made me see, okay, I need to focus. I removed stuff from my business, and from that point, I started being focused, and that got me results. That story of explaining the lesson that way with the story is much more powerful than the information that explains the importance of focus. Because with the story, people remember stories much better than just information, and they are much more likely to understand the lesson because when you share a story, people are seeing themselves in that story. Okay, so that makes the content much more powerful. Okay, so that's very important that we stand out, that we speak to our target customers, that we give value without asking for anything in return. So those three are big things, very important things in the content. Giving without asking for anything in return, speaking to our target customers and what they are going through, and creating uniqueness in our brands by sharing who we are, our stories, our journeys, etc.
Well,
Um,
I wasn't doing any of that.
yeah, at the beginning, you were not doing any of that.
No, I was not. And I didn't even know who my avatar was. I didn't know how to identify my avatar. I invited anybody and everybody to be in my audience. I accepted friends' requests left, right, and center. I had people looking for handouts, people looking for charity donations. I had men sending me body part pictures. I mean,
Wow.
it was something else. And
Yeah.
nice. I mean, I've probably still got people in my audience that I don't want there, but I am consistently cleaning out my friends list for people. And I don't hesitate now. Well, first of all, I don't accept friend requests unless it's something very particular that's attracted me to their profile that I want to, but very, very rarely, maybe one a month maximum. And I, as you taught me, I profile everybody before I bring them into my audience. And I know my avatar now, and I know where to go and find them. And these were just the basic things.
Yeah.
And I really only started learning that when I joined your program and your coaching.
Yeah.
So that was quite a few months after.
Yeah.
December.
We started in December 2023. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the problems you are describing are very common when people start with Facebook Organic. And for you guys who are not familiar with the process of Facebook Organic, the way we grow our audiences is by adding people as friends to our Facebook profile. So we use a Facebook profile to build our brands, and we grow an audience on our Facebook profiles by going to Facebook groups, Facebook pages where our target customers are, and we send friend requests to those people. And when people accept a friend request, they enter our friends list and they start getting exposed to the content that we share, and we can have conversations with those people and they start getting exposed to us. Okay, so what Lesley is talking about is that she was having a lot of people in her friends list, which is her audience, that were pitching, that were sending body parts, that were asking for money, that were trying to scam you probably with crypto stuff. So a lot of people that were the wrong people, and that's why it's so important that we have the right people in our audience. Okay, and it's important that we have filters in place so we don't let those people enter our audience. And that's one of the things that we worked together on, was making sure that Lesley had the right people in her audience. Because if you have the wrong people in your audience, you can have the best content in the world, you can have the best conversation skills in the world, you are not going to sell because you don't have a match between your audience and your content and your offer. Okay, that's the match, that's the alignment that needs to exist in an affiliate marketing business to generate results. Right people consuming your content, your target customers, your content speaks to those people and what they're going through, their problems, etc., and moves them towards the offer, and the offer helps those people solve the problems they have and achieve the results they want. Okay, if we don't have this alignment, it's hard to generate consistent results. Okay, and this alignment is created by understanding our target customers, understanding where they are so we can go to the right places to find the right people, understanding the content we need to create to speak to those people. By understanding our target customers, we understand their pains, their problems, their goals, their desires, their false beliefs, and we start speaking to those people. Okay, and understanding what we need to talk about in our content to start generating leads and create opportunities to make sales. Okay, so that's a very important lesson, and it's something that happens with a lot of people. This is very common when people start using Facebook, is they start accepting a lot of friend requests, because when you start joining groups, you start receiving a lot of friend requests. It's normal because people go to the list of group members and they start seeing who are the new members and sending friend requests to those people. So when you join the group, you'll receive a lot of friend requests. So when you accept friend requests, what those people are doing is trying to get you exposed to their content. So bring you to their audiences so they can eventually market to you, sell to you, or scam you, or ask you for money, or send you body parts, or whatever. Okay, they have their goal when they send you a friend request. So if you guys are using Facebook right now and growing your audience by growing your friends list by adding friends, I recommend that you don't accept friend requests, that other people send you, okay? Because 95% of those will not be your target customers, okay? So it's better that you go to places where your target customers are and that you send friend requests yourself, okay? Because when you send friend requests yourself, if you go to the right places, and it's important that you understand your target customer to identify the right places to go to, you go to those places, you send friend requests, you check their profiles, as Lesley explained, checking their profiles before sending the friend request to make sure they are the people you are looking for, and then sending the friend request when you identify, okay, this looks like my target customer. And this quality over quantity approach is what allows people like Vadim, for example. Vadim is another client I have that I interviewed in September. He made 8 high-ticket sales with less than 1,000 followers. And he was able to achieve that by having the right people in his audience. So when you have the right people in your audience, you don't need a lot of people. Okay. When you have the right people in your audience, you don't need to have a lot of people. But when you have the wrong people, I see people with audiences of 3, 4, 5, 10K followers and not being able to monetize. And a lot of times I talk with them and I see, okay, you have the right people exposed to you. That's the problem. Okay. So that's why the target customer is so important. And that's the one of the first steps I help people with is target customer right away. Because when you have clarity around your target customer, all these pieces start being aligned. Okay, so that's an important one. Is that
But
you
it was a
guys?
little bit like I was talking to many. I was talking to everyone,
Yeah,
and that's the problem. You're talking to no one.
you didn't have clarity around the people you needed in your audience. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those were the challenges you were facing. Basically, you had generic content, so your content was not creating opportunities for your business. You were being pitched in the DMs because you had the wrong people in your audience. Anything else that you were facing at the time before we started working together?
Um, no, I think I had no idea how to write content. I had no idea what I should be writing. I hated going into the DMs because I was worried if somebody asked me something that I wouldn't be able to answer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and really, even now, my DMs, I'm much better on the DMs. I've got to be honest. And I don't mind going into the DMs now. And I don't worry if anybody asks me now because I know if there's something that I don't know, I'll come and ask you, Andre.
Yeah.
Very simple. Um, but back in March and April of 2023, even all the way through to the December, I mean, it was a place that I wouldn't go. I avoided the DMs like the plague. I didn't
Okay.
want to be in them. And yet
Yeah.
that's where you want to be more than anywhere else. I mean, I did see someone put on Facebook yesterday that if you're not in the DMs, you're spending your time doing things that are not important, like writing content. Well, I don't totally agree with that because
Yeah.
I think my content can do a lot of my heavy lifting for me.
Yeah.
I'm now writing my content. I would say a year ago, I would have agreed with that because my
Yeah.
content was diabolical.
Yeah. But yeah, the DMs, I don't agree with that sentence either because the DMs, I recommend using both the content and the DMs because the DMs give you a lot of fuel for the content, give you a lot of
Mm.
ideas for the content. You learn a lot about your target customer in the DMs that, and you can use that in your content, so the content becomes better.
Yeah.
And
That's
the
if you can
DMs,
get them to open up,
yeah, yeah,
which I couldn't. I didn't know how to do that. I was scared to even go down that path.
which is a skill that it's possible to
Yes.
develop, and you have been developing that skill.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's another thing you mentioned. The DMs were a challenge for you. So let's recap your journey so far. You started with tech,
Okay.
struggled with tech 4 months, didn't get any results, started looking for alternatives. That's when you jumped into Facebook with the done for you system with OLSP, and you started making some sales, but you started having some challenges in your Facebook approach with people pitching you in the DMs and you having the wrong people in your audience, generic content that was not creating opportunities for you, and the DMs were a problem for you as well. Is this correct so far?
Yeah. I think you've hit the nail on the head.
Awesome. So how did you feel when you were facing these challenges on Facebook? What was going through your mind?
This was when I started joining groups
Mm-hmm.
where it was coaches that were doing similar to what you were doing, same way I came across your group. Um, and a particular person said to me, because I had a discussion in the DMs about she was going to pitch me about my struggles. And she said, forget about the tech, focus on the sales and the marketing and selling skills. That's what you need to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And when you've mastered the marketing and selling skills, you can sell any product.
Yeah.
And when your business is grown and you're successful, that's when you bring the tools in.
Yeah. Is that exactly?
Yeah. that was probably the best advice I had at that time. And it made me reassess everything I was doing. Now, never crossed my mind at the time that this person was actually a coach and I could have signed up there and then.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't really do anything, and I don't really remember the reasons why I didn't do anything. I think probably because there was a lot of stuff in my life that was still going on, sorting out affairs and that. And but I knew I was struggling. I did know I was struggling. And then I found your group, and you did your trainings on a Tuesday and a Thursday. I remember at 6 o'clock every Tuesday and Thursday. And it was perfect timing because it was at the end of my workday and I was normally preparing dinner then. Your trainings were 10, 15 minutes long,
Yep.
perfect, after having hours and hours of training and replays and everything. Those 15 minutes had my full attention and it was great. And you uncomplicated something that I thought was very complicated. I mean, it's actually a lot of it is common sense, but it's not stuff we're born with. Common
Yeah.
sense we have to learn. And I think that was the big moment for me that I realized that there was more to this than what I had thought, and
Mm.
that I had to start learning some skills.
You realize that you didn't have the necessary skills
No,
to market and sell on Facebook.
no. I had no idea what I was doing. No idea.
Yeah.
And it was either a case of this was the second time that I was ready to walk away or make a change. And I realized the only change I could make was to join someone who could teach me what I didn't know.
Yeah. Okay. So you were about to give up in that phase after making money?
Yeah, I think I would have given up. Yeah, if I hadn't been able to move forward with the right skills, and I wasn't going to continue to make money if I didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of my OLSP, except for this one guy in the US, a lot of it was the system, and I think a little bit of luck thrown in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, um, so to build something, the other thing that struck me is I was working my 9 to 5, and in my spare time, and it was a big chunk of my spare time because I really didn't have much going on in my life. Um, I was working for Wayne.
What do you mean?
Well, I might as well, he might as well just be paying me a salary. I was employed by him to put OLSP everywhere. And I don't want that. I want to be able to um, be me with products that I can promote to the person that whose problem I can solve with the right product. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you were focusing only on building the product or on talking about the product and not so much building your own brand.
100%. 100%. I was a billboard for OLSP.
Okay. And that's a very important lesson is
Yes,
if we build a brand around ourselves, we can promote anything we want. And even if a product disappears, our business is not affected because we can find something else that we can promote.
yes. I'm still me.
Yeah. And people
I
are there
haven't gone
because of
anywhere.
you, not because of the product. And
Yes.
that's very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
And I sometimes have questions about how do you deal if your product if your affiliate product disappears? You build a brand around yourself. That's the solution. Because with that you are protected. And that's what allowed me, for example, now to have my own products and sell those products to the same audience. I didn't have to change anything. It was just a
Yes.
product. I was promoting affiliate products. Now I sell my own products to the same
Yes.
audience because the audience is there because of my brand, not because of an affiliate product I was promoting.
Yes.
That's so important. Very, very important. Um, cool. Another big lesson that you shared there. So,
Mm.
you were feeling stuck about to you thought about giving you had thoughts about giving up again, and
Yeah.
you started consuming my videos. You started following me, and you joined this group, and you were referred by Matea. Matea, I think Matea sent you to the group, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and
Okay. I don't think I remember that. Sorry,
I
Mattia. I don't remember how I got here.
Yeah, I think it was Matteo who introduced you to the Facebook group. So
Okay.
I think you had a conversation with her, and she sent you to the group, and you started watching my videos, and then you started thinking about the possibility of working together. So what attracted you to that idea? So you started watching my videos, you started seeing what you said. I was making things simpler for you to understand. What attracted you to the idea of working together at the time?
Um, well, I'd been part of the Facebook group for around 6 months, I think, doing your
Mhm.
twice weekly calls. Um, and everything that you said on those trainings just made so much sense. And I think the biggest thing was that you understood or you remembered what it was like to be a beginner
Mm, that's
and
a
you
good point.
didn't use jargon, which was great. I mean, it was so simple. And yet, this whole thing is simple, but by God, it's not easy.
It's not.
And I don't know. I remember our conversation and we talked, and I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about it, and I was still consuming your content and everything, and a few other people's content along the way. And I think ultimately it was your style that brought me to your group rather than anyone else's.
Mm, okay.
It was, um, it just felt right. My gut was telling me this was the route to go down. And I'm a big believer in listening to my second brain.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's what I did. And there was a couple of things you were talking about the importance of a Facebook group and how
In my
important
lives,
that,
yeah.
yeah, how important that was. And I kept thinking that, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm going to have to find someone else because I'm not going to have time to do a Facebook group.
So that was a concern you had
Huge
working
concern, huge concern.
about working together. Okay.
Yeah. And creating live videos,
Okay.
which was kind of crazy, really, because in the July with OLSP, we had been encouraged to do reels, these 7 to 15 second reels. And I was posting reels 3 times a day on Instagram, on my Facebook page, and on YouTube. But it wasn't live, it was recorded.
Yeah.
And every time it didn't work out, I could re record it. It didn't make any difference. So I did those reels for 18 months. And in those 18 months, I got one sale.
Hmm.
That was all I made. So I knew the reels weren't working.
Yeah.
And then I'm not saying that they don't work for everybody because they obviously do work for some people, but certainly didn't work for me. But it gave me probably a little bit more confidence to say, okay, then maybe I could do the lives.
Mm.
But then having joined you, and set up my Facebook group. I think it was probably about 6 months before I went in and did a live, and I was
Yeah.
absolutely shaking like this when I did it. It was terrible. Um, but now I'm still doing my lives, a minimum of one a week. And I used to just speak into space because no one ever joined me on my lives. But last week I had one, and 5 people were actually on the live with me.
Yeah.
And that was such a huge moment. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I think I said something like, wow, there's people here. Crazy. Um, so the Facebook group was my biggest concern, and it does take time, more time to nurture the group. But all I can say is I'm absolutely delighted I listened to what my gut told me to do and I joined because I'm probably jumping way ahead of everything here now. But before Christmas, I made 4 sales out of my Facebook group.
Hmm.
And this is what you've talked about all this time, and I actually saw it happening.
Yeah. It's
And it
very
was
powerful. The Facebook
and it
group is very
was and it
powerful.
was absolutely great. Um, so yes, it does take time, but not as much time once you get into the rhythm of it,
Yeah.
doing it. And I saw a lot of the stuff that you were doing in your group, and I borrowed some of your ideas, which
Hmm.
has been great. In fact, in fairness, you share everything that you do. You're happy to have us do all of that. Um,
Cool.
and going back to my concerns and why I did it, it was a case of if I didn't do something, I probably that time would give up.
Okay,
And I
that
still
makes
didn't
sense
want to give up. I still wanted to continue.
because you are a fighter.
Yeah, because I'm a fighter and I'm
Awesome.
determined.
And the Facebook group thing is a common concern people have when we talk. And what I recommend is when people have very limited time and the Facebook group is impossible for them to manage, they can just use the Facebook profile and grow their businesses that way. And I have clients who are just using a Facebook profile without a Facebook group, and it works. Of course, a group is a powerful tool, and it can help you um, get more results in your business. And I recommend setting up a group when you are ready for it. But if you guys are not ready for a Facebook group right now because you have very limited time, and I started with a profile only as well in my business, you can just focus on the profile only and add people as friends to grow your audience, create content, talk to people, present offers, close sales. Okay, it can be a very simple process without a Facebook group. If you have the time to manage a Facebook group, yes, I recommend it 100% because it has features that allow you to accelerate your results. For example, the guide section. In the guide section, you can organize content like a course. So people can binge watch that content and it accelerates the trust building process with those people who are watching your videos. For example, you have the membership questions, which allows you to collect the data from your audience. Okay, and on the profile, you don't have a way to collect that data unless you ask people in the DMs. So with a Facebook group, people join your group, and you can ask 3 questions that people need to answer to join, and you collect data like their emails, like their roadblocks, and that's very useful data that you can use for your business to create content with the roadblocks. And it's very useful also when you are talking to people, knowing their roadblocks, so you can see if you can help them or not. Okay, so a Facebook group is very powerful. I totally recommend it if, and that's a big if you have the time to do it. If you don't have time to do it, you can just focus on the profile, start getting results that way, and then eventually when you are ready, you can add the Facebook group because when you start doing the work with the profile, you'll get better at the skills, you'll start doing things faster, and eventually as you do things faster, you are able to free up some time and you can eventually start a Facebook group when you have more time to do it. Okay, because at the beginning you take writing a post will take a long time because you are not used to it. Knowing what to say in the DMs will take a long time because you are not used to it. So adding friends will take a long time because you are not used to it. So you get better and quicker at doing those tasks as you do them, as you do those repetitions. Um, with the live videos, yeah, that's another common concern people have is creating videos. And for me, it was very hard as well. And I shared that story multiple times here in the Facebook group. My first live was very scary because I was an introvert all my life, and even posting photos of myself was uncomfortable for me. And the thought of doing videos was very scary. But I decided to step out of my comfort zone and do it for the first time in August 2020. And it was the best thing I did in my business because of the way people connect with you through video. Okay. If you don't create any video content, it's harder for people to trust you, or it takes longer for people to trust you because they are not seeing your face, they are not hearing your voice. So they are just seeing someone who is writing content and posting some photos. It's much harder for you to trust that person than someone who is talking to a video and you are watching them on a video. And that's why I do these lives twice a week, the lives in the group twice a week. It's because of the way it builds relationships with my audience, and it nurtures people. Okay. Um, so yeah, it's scary. It's something that when we are not used to it is uncomfortable, but I recommend that everyone takes that first step and starts everyone starts doing lives, and you can do pre-recorded videos as well, but the lives are more powerful on Facebook because the Facebook algorithm likes lives better. They push the lives to more people than a pre-recorded video. Pre-recorded video doesn't get much reach on Facebook when you post it, but a live gets way more reach because of the interactions that it gets while it's happening, and the more comments it gets, the more Facebook shows it to more people. So that's why. Sorry about the alarm. So that's why the lives are powerful on Facebook. So I recommend doing lives. I understand it's uncomfortable. I understand it it's something that is not easy, and it was not easy for me too, but I recommend that you guys step out of your comfort zone and start creating videos because it will really accelerate your results in your businesses. 100%.
And it builds huge confidence,
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
confidence.
And after a few weeks of doing it consistently, it's much easier. It's just that first one that is very hard.
Well,
Okay?
first 10.
Yeah. Of course, it's still hard, but the first one is the hardest one, without a doubt.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But for me, after 2, 3 weeks, it was much easier already to do it. Um, but yeah, it's now, of course, it's much easier than it was on the second or the third or the 10th. But yeah, it gets easier over time with your exposure to that experience. Okay, so we need to get exposed to something for us to get comfortable with it. And that's why
100%.
if we stop, for example, if I stop doing lives, probably I would get some anxiety when coming back to doing lives. If I stop doing lives for 6 months, for example, it would probably be an anxious moment for me again because I stopped getting exposed to that thing that was uncomfortable for me when I started. So it's important or I recommend that you guys step out of your comfort zones, that you do it, and when you start doing videos, keep doing them consistently. Okay, even if it's just once a week or once every 2 weeks, but keep doing them so you don't lose that habit of showing up on a video. Because if you stop for a long period of time, then going back to it is will be hard again when it's something uncomfortable for you guys. Okay? Awesome. Thanks for sharing those um, concerns. So you talked about concerns with building a Facebook group because of the time, and you talked about the live videos, but you decided to still do it because your gut was telling you this was the right move
Yes,
for you to help you with your business.
absolutely. And public speaking and presenting has always been a little bit of an issue with me. Even before I was married and I worked for a telecoms company, I was in HR, moved from HR to operations, and part of my new responsibilities was to train the customer on the telecoms equipment. And I was so nervous and so anxious about it. My director put me on a Dale Carnegie public speaking course for around 12 weeks. And it was absolutely horrendous. But after that 12 weeks, I went out and I did all the presentations and the trainings, and I, having done all that and then realizing how difficult, or coming back to how challenging these lives were, if I'd thought about it at the time and looked back, I would have realized that the more I did it, the easier it got. But when you haven't done it for 30 years,
Yeah, yeah,
that is a shock, total shock.
yeah.
But now, I mean, I'm doing a live in my group this Friday, and I'm sending out invitations, and I think I might even share a few slides. So I'm getting really brave. It might go
Nice.
wrong. It might go wrong, but we'll see.
And even if it goes wrong, it's still an experience and you learn from it. I remember you had some tech issues before as well, and that's part of the journey.
Yes. Oh, I don't have any tech issues now. I can hook up my Zoom and do everything absolutely fine now. But I used to have to get set up for about 40 minutes before I was due to go live just to know everything was done properly. But anyway, that really is behind the scenes in my business.
Yeah, yeah, it's part
But
of the journey.
it has to be. I can't believe that I'm the only one that feels like this.
Yeah, it's part of the journey, and it's
But
it's
very,
a
very
journey.
few people talk about it.
Yeah, and it's a journey of constant growth because we are always stepping out of our comfort zones and learning new things. And it's an amazing journey. That's why I love this so much. It's the people we become with this. It's not just the money that we make, it's the people that we become. We develop so many skills. We
Yeah,
learn so much about people, about um how people interact, how people approach things, how people make decisions. So we start understanding a lot
yeah.
about human
Why
psychology
people
as
buy.
well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
It's about
which
becoming the person that can make $10,000 a month.
Yeah, and then the outcome comes naturally when we are that
Yeah.
person. Exactly. Um, and again, that comes from developing skills instead of focusing on the money. Something we talked about a few minutes ago.
Yes.
It's not the money. I understand that that's the mindset when we jump online is money, money, money. but it's important to shift that focus to helping people in developing skills, and money follows as a result of that. Okay, so we started working together around December 2023. So after we started, what growth were you able to experience? Monetary, non-monetary? Can you talk us a bit more? Can you share with us a bit more about your experience and your results and the growth that you were able to achieve since we started?
I couldn't believe how much I had to learn. I couldn't believe how much I didn't know. I mean, it was just so much. I suppose the biggest thing, the biggest growth is really my Facebook group.
Mm-hmm.
I'm close to having 100 members now, which I'm really delighted about. And I actually go into the DMs and have conversations with people and ask them if they'd like to join my group, which 6 months ago I wouldn't have done.
Yeah.
So so I think that probably is the biggest thing. But doing the lives has been a huge achievement. Huge achievement. So both those things have been huge achievements for me. And there has been some monetary results, which is really good. But the ones I'm most proud of are the 4 that I got out of my group for low ticket sales. Well, in fact, 5. So that was wonderful because it confirmed what you were teaching actually worked.
Yeah.
And that was wonderful to see. And I know that I've got so much more to learn and so many more comfort zones to put myself out of. But yeah, it's working with you. My mindset has changed dramatically. I also realize that I don't have to look too far from your group to know that I'm not going to get the same level of coaching. Because even though it's not one-to-one coaching, I sometimes feel like the amount of time we talk in the DMs and that, or we touch base on something, I feel like it is, whether it's the weekend or during the week. So teaching me how I can help people in my group, leading by your example. And that's great because when it comes to my group, I predominantly are there to help anybody. And what's even great now is people actually reach out to me and ask my advice.
Which is amazing.
Which, yeah, absolutely, it's amazing. I mean, it wasn't happening a year ago, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So
that comes from giving and from us having an approach of helping people. People start saying, okay, this person can help me, or this person is open to help, and they start asking for help.
yes. I mean, I'm sure there are times when I haven't been able to help, but I've given it my best shot.
Yeah, and that's always the approach, is sharing based on our experiences.
Yes. Now, one of the things I did do in the end of August last year, I joined an affiliate sprint, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And this instilled in me I enjoyed the first 30 days. I've never done a challenge before. And when I was asked if I wanted to do it, I just said, I don't do challenges. I don't do challenges because I was frightened to do a challenge. Anyway, it was starting on the 1st of September, and I got an email I picked up on my phone from one of the coaches that was running it. And I thought, why don't I? Why don't, Wayne always used to say, if you're frightened, you have to walk into the face of fear.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I'm going to do this challenge. And I actually enjoyed it so much. And it wasn't so much that it improved my content, because when I look back, the content isn't that great.
So it was a challenge, just for people to understand what you are talking about. It was a challenge to post consistently for 30 days, right?
30 days, posting consistently, learning how to package your offer, learning how to use Facebook stories, which I'd never done before, and doing live videos on Facebook stories. Just everything. It was just a whole different skill set. But it was so much fun. And I posted for 30 days. And they did another one. So I signed up again. Yeah, and then I was a glutton for punishment. But I loved it, absolutely loved it. And when they did one in December, because I actually signed people up to it, I got to do a December one as a bonus.
Nice.
So which was really good. But over that time, because that was September, October, November, December, my content writing improved dramatically.
The repetitions, yeah.
Yeah, just the practice.
Yeah.
And that really was, and learning how to present things,
Yeah.
with the hooks and all of that. So I feel really chuffed with that, with what I've done there. And yeah, and Andre, yesterday I went back and looked at your content to see what you were writing. And not because I wanted to steal your content, because I've had that happen to me and I was really quite annoyed about it. But looking at your techniques and
Mm-hmm.
how I could improve on mine,
Mm-hmm.
and it's great to have people say they've got a mentor, and have they got a mentor? Because they're in huge group trainings where there's 50 people, the support tickets have to be issued to get any replies, and that's not how you talk with us. You're there for us when we need you, and you're there for us when we're celebrating our wins and we're doing everything. And it's really great. And I don't have to go too many places to find anything better. In fact, I haven't found anything better yet.
Thank you. Thank you for the
And
kind
it's
word.
true. Yeah. I mean, that shiny object syndrome, I think, gets everybody a little bit. And
Yeah.
I must admit, I went through it with tools, because I did have more tools. I've got more stuff in my email account to log in and register with these different things that I've never even opened up. So I'm very wary of shiny objects
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. It happens to everyone.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of money wasted.
Yeah. But also we learned from it. I had shiny object syndrome. I learned from it, and that helped me realize, okay, this doesn't make sense. I need to stop doing this. So all the mistakes that we make are lessons, always.
Absolutely.
So we
Yeah.
need to look at them as something good. Okay. Of course, in the moment when we make a mistake, either because we buy something that we shouldn't have bought, or because we send the wrong message in Messenger, or because we said the wrong thing in our piece of content, or because the tech didn't work in our life, all those little things that happen in the moment, we start getting anxious. Oh, I said the wrong thing, or I shouldn't have done that. But when we look back 1, 2, 3 days later, we can see a lesson always, and that's what we need to focus on. Okay, of course it's hard to look at it right in the moment when we have emotions, because we made a mistake. But when we wait a few days and we look back at that mistake, we always learn some lesson that is very valuable for the future.
Yes. And that's a huge unlearning for what we're programmed to believe,
Yeah.
because we're programmed to believe we shouldn't make mistakes, that we have to be perfect. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the minute you set foot in school, that's what you taught.
Yeah. You
You
are
have to be,
punished. You are
yeah,
punished for making mistakes.
yes. So to unlearn all that and to see
Yeah.
it as a positive thing,
Yeah.
it's a big mindset shift.
And that's why entrepreneurship is such a personal development journey, because we need to unlearn so many things that we learned in society, and we need to change our way of thinking a lot. A lot.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
Um,
And when
so
you're
yeah.
my age, that's not so easy.
Yeah. But yeah, you are still doing it, and
Yeah.
you are persistent, you are consistent, and that's something I want to mention is the fact. So the reason why you achieved the results, you recently achieved the 10K mark in commissions, and all the lessons and the things that you achieved with growing your Facebook group, with you doing your live videos, with improving in the DMs and being able to start using that skill to start creating opportunities for your business. So all of those things happen because you are consistent, and that's something a lot of people talk about, but not a lot of people can do for a long period of time. And you have been doing it. You have been showing up consistently for a long period of time, and that's a big part of your growth as well, because you talked about the challenges and how posting content every day for 30 days helped you improve your
Yeah.
skill. And that's what consistency does, is when we do repetitions, when we repeat the same task over and over again, we become better. When we talk to people every day, we become better at talking to people. When we create content every day, we become better at creating content. And we make mistakes, we learn lessons. And it's a constant game of doing this, until we have the skills developed to a point where we can generate results. That's the game that we are playing here. It's
Yes.
constantly learning skills, doing repetitions, and it's boring. Some days it's boring to show up and to do the same thing again. And some days we don't feel like doing it, but we still show up. That's the key, because that allows you to compound your efforts, compound over time, and that's how results start happening.
Yeah. Well, I've got a DMO and I use it every day, and I know it off by heart, but I still love to tick it off
Yeah.
because I know I've done those jobs. And things happen. My Facebook has blocked me this morning for 24 hours. I can't add any people to my audience. And I actually thought, well, that's good. I won't have to do that.
That's a
I
great
have
way
a
to
day
look at
off.
it.
Yeah. Rather than
um,
worry too much about it. And hopefully they let me back in tomorrow.
yeah. Um, Yeah, you talked about the DMO. DMO, for those who don't know, that's a daily method of operation. So that's basically a list of tasks that we have, that we do daily in our businesses, which are the tasks that are going to move our businesses forward. And that's something we can talk about a bit. It's the process that you use, that you have been using on Facebook. So basically, you are adding people as friends to grow your audience. Okay. So you go to Facebook groups. You mainly go to Facebook groups, from what I know. You find your target customers, you add them as friends, that grows the audience. And then you
Yep.
post content on your Facebook profile, and then you have conversations in the DMs. With these two, you are moving people to your Facebook group, and in the
Yes.
Facebook group, creating live videos where the goal is to nurture people, build stronger relationships with them, build trust, and then using DMs to present offers and make sales. Okay, that's what you are doing, right?
Yes.
Okay,
It
so
is.
this process doesn't require any tech. Okay, so that's the shift that happened. You stopped using tech when you start using a done for you system with OLSP, but this process doesn't require any tech, as you guys can see. It's just Facebook, a Facebook profile, a Facebook group, and 5 to 10 minute videos um, through the Facebook lives to nurture the audience. Okay, another thing I want to mention that is, in my opinion, a big part of your growth is the fact that you show up for the calls every week. Okay. Because every week you show up, we have a group call every week in my coaching program, and Lesley shows up every week to ask questions, to ask for feedback, to ask for help when she needs. And that's also a big part of growing and being able to develop skills is when we need help, we need to ask for help and not being afraid of asking for help when we are stuck. And that's something that is very good, is that you keep asking for help when you get stuck. When you are not sure what to say in a conversation, you ask me. When you are not sure what to do next, you ask me. And that's an amazing trait to have, because that helps you develop skills faster. Because if we are stuck and we don't ask for help, we will stay stuck and we will not grow and achieve the next level. But when we ask for help, and this is something I do in my journey too with my own mentors and coaches, okay, it's always asking for help when we get stuck, because that way we don't waste time. We overcome that issue quicker because we are asking for help. We are asking to someone who has more experience than us and has been there and has at the same roadblock before, and that allows us to overcome that quicker and make progress quicker in our businesses. So that's another big part of your growth that I see being your coach, is the fact that you show up to the calls consistently as well. Um, Okay, so basically to recap, your results were you made 10K in affiliate commissions, you start understanding your audience better, and that allowed you to align your business, the three components that we spoke. Your audience, you started cleaning your audience, having the right people in your audience by adding the right people as friends, and that's the first thing, the most important thing to dial in first, because we can have the content right, we can have everything else right, but if we have the wrong people, it's hard to generate sales. So we dialed in your audience, your target customer, and you started having the right people in your audience, and you started removing the wrong people. You built your Facebook group, which was something that you were not using. Did you have a group before started, or what did
No,
you? So it
no,
was not.
no. I started my group when I joined you.
Okay, so you started your Facebook group from scratch. You started doing live videos, which was something that you were concerned about, but now you are doing them consistently, and you are seeing the result of that in sales, which is amazing. And then the DMs process, we have been refining that DMs that DM process for you to know what to say in specific scenarios that happen in the DMs and to make more sales. And then it's a matter of implementing these tasks consistently, and more sales will happen in your business. So these are basically the results that Lesley is achieving or achieved in her business, monetary and non-monetary, and the process is what I explained. So the tasks that she does daily, can you just explain your DMO, your daily method of operation for people to understand the tasks that you are doing every day in your business?
I can. I do the main income generating tasks first. So I write my content. I don't write my content at night. I write my content quite early in the day because I find when I'm tired, it doesn't work for me. But I write my content. I do warm outreach to people. So people who have commented on my stories, particularly now because I've been doing stories for the last few weeks. So I'm reaching out to them to start conversations in the DMs. I particularly focus on the people that have gone through all the pages of my stories because they've had that little bit more exposure to me.
Yep.
I send out 30 friend requests religiously, except when Facebook stopped me. And this is only the third time that Facebook has stopped me. And I was doing it this morning and I'd only sent out 2 and they shut me down. So I don't know why.
It happens sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
I had restrictions a few months ago as well. It happens to everyone. But
okay. I'm not particularly bothered about it today.
yeah.
I mean, over one of the weekends, I'd done 30 friend requests over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I had about 35 people show up in my notifications, and that was a lot of people to get in touch with.
Yeah.
Took a lot of time.
Yeah.
So I write my content. I do a Facebook story every day, a long form post every day, warm outreach, add the friends, and I write my emails. I three times a week. I try to do a post in my group. That's on my DMO. I try and send an email to my group members twice a week, and I don't always get it done, but it's in there to get it done. And I have a cold email list through OLSP that I write every day. Well, actually, Big Pete writes the letter. I just put it into the autoresponder.
Okay.
So that works pretty good.
Yeah.
So that's the things I do most days.
Yeah. So it's basically adding friends to grow the audience, creating the content to start building trust with that audience, nurture them, the DMs, and in the DMs, it's not just starting conversations, it's also responding to the conversations that you have going on. So that's also part of the DMs and following up with the people.
Following up,
yeah, that you presented offers to. So starting new conversations with people who are engaging with you. That's warm outreach. So people who are warmer, not cold. So a cold lead is someone who doesn't know you, doesn't like you, doesn't trust you. A warm lead is someone who has been exposed to you for some time. So we can start conversations with those warm leads who are engaging, commenting, liking, because they are showing signs of interest, and also with the cold people, with the new friends who accept the friend request. That's cold outreach. That also the goal is to initiate a conversation to build a relationship. You are doing live videos once a week, and then so that's basically it. And then you have the emails because you are collecting emails from your Facebook group when people join, and you are sending some emails, which is repurposed from your written content, right?
Yes, quite often it is. Yes, occasionally I write something that just strikes me as something good to write. But yes, I take my posts that I've already written and I change them into emails.
Yeah.
Just tweak them a little bit. And some of the posts that I've written, they can do with being tweaking because they weren't that great.
Yeah.
But I've got the basic foundation, the idea there.
Yeah. Yeah, because our perspective changes. For example, if we write something we wrote something 6 months ago. If we look at it now, we would write it a bit differently always, because we learned. So yeah, but repurposing content is great, and is something I do in my business too. I repurpose the posts between my profile, my group, and my emails.
Yes.
So if you
I'm
guys,
doing exactly that, Andre. I wonder why.
where did you learn that from?
Where did I learn that from?
Um, but if you guys are just starting, you don't need to do the emails with this process. Okay, just want to make that clear. I didn't start with sending emails myself. I was collecting emails from the group, but not sending any emails to people. And then I started repurposing my posts and I started sending emails. But when starting, if someone starts with this process, I recommend starting very simple with Facebook profile, Facebook group if you have the time, and 5 to 10 minute videos with Facebook Lives. I recommend Facebook Lives. And just the tasks for someone who is just starting with a very simple process are adding friends, creating a piece of content for the profile, having conversations with people, which is starting, moving, following up, and then doing a video once a week. I recommend at least once a week, and then in the DMs presenting offers and cool sales. So these are basically the four tasks that you need to do: adding friends, written content, which you can repurpose in the group, profile in the group, a piece of video content I recommend once a week at least, and DMs. These four tasks are all the tasks that need to be done consistently, and then the emails just amplifies because you get more exposure. But just starting, someone who is starting from scratch, these four. Okay, adding friends, written content, a piece of video content a week, and DMs. This process doesn't require any tech; it's just Facebook, and doesn't require any adding paid ads because we are using free traffic. And as we are using the video content, we don't need a big following because the focus is on building strong relationships with people through the video content and through the DMs. That's why a big following is not required with this process to make sales and to make consistent sales. Because when as we put a strong focus in building strong relationships with people, we don't need a lot of people, because if you didn't build such strong relationships with people, you need more people to close sales. Because that's what we talked at the beginning of this interview. You can increase your conversion rate when you focus on nurturing the people you have in your audience and building strong relationships with them. So that's the focus, and that's why it doesn't require a big following. So this is the process I used to go from 0 to 6 figures. This is the process that Lesley is using in her business. So what's going through your mind right now? You had all these challenges in your journey. You had phases where you felt like giving up. What's going through your mind right now? How do you feel right now?
Oh, I'm totally delighted with the progress that I've made. Um, I'm not the kind of person that compares myself to other people. And I know other people have seen much greater success than me, but I know where I started my journey.
Yeah.
And I know the skills that I had. Actually, I didn't have any skills. So that was it. So I was starting from scratch. So yeah, I'm totally delighted. And learning the skills has been a huge impact on everything, on the person that I am now. I'm a totally different person to when I started, and on my mindset.
Yeah.
I would say I genuinely look forward to coming to the office to start. I do enjoy it, and I'm so pleased that I didn't give up. I'm so pleased I'm still here. You know,
Yeah.
because the reason I'm here wasn't started on for a good reason. It came from a bad place, but it's finishing up in a good place,
Yeah.
and that is nice. And I sometimes reflect and wish that I'd known about this world online before.
Yeah. Me too.
It's quite incredible.
I wish I started earlier.
I think probably most people do. I know, I think the saddest thing out of all of this, when I first did come online, the amount of people that I talked to who seemed such lovely people, and now they're no longer here.
Yeah. Most people disappear, which is um hard to understand sometimes, but yeah.
Yeah,
People,
because
a lot of people give up.
yes, because even, like even if something happened in my life today and I thought I can't put all the focus on this, I could still find 2 hours a day to do my key things.
Yeah.
It's Yeah, that I do sometimes see people's profiles and I think, oh, I wonder what they're doing. And so many of them have given up.
Yeah, a lot of
So
people give up in this journey. It's because it's not easy. Um,
yeah,
it it
it's
it's
not
it
easy.
it requires so much growth when it comes to mindset and skills and how we see the world. Our perspective needs to change a lot. So there are so many things that we need to change as people, and that change is hard for a lot of people.
Yes. Because
Um,
it's that putting yourself out there, isn't it? It's
yeah,
scary.
yeah, yeah, and especially when the why is not strong, a lot of people give up when they see the challenges in front of them. But when we have a strong why, that keeps us going, even when we have big walls in front of us.
Yes.
So that's why the why is so important.
Yes, because it is a lot of work. And I do remember saying to you when we were looking at conversations in the DMs, it sounds so simple, but my God, it's not easy.
It's practice, practice, practice.
Yeah.
That's it. It's the repetitions. Awesome. So final question for you. So you had this amazing journey, and congratulations on everything you achieved so far. And I look forward to seeing you grow even more, and looking forward to see what happens in the next few months and years in your journey. Final question I have for you is: what would you say to people who are considering working with me via my group coaching program, people who have been talking with me about my group coaching program or didn't talk yet but are considering working with me? What would you say to those people who are considering that?
Don't hesitate. Don't sit on the fence. The sooner you start, the sooner you see results. And it's honestly been the best decision I made in my journey. And it's it for me, it's been learning the skills and focusing on learning the skills. And okay, I've done lots of little bits and pieces, but the my personal growth has been so huge from where I started. I mean, I was an emotional wreck to begin with, and my
Mhm.
confidence was zilch. I had absolutely no confidence, and that wasn't me. But grief does these things to a person.
Mhm.
So, one of the things that I wanted more than anything was to get some of my confidence back,
Yeah.
and that has definitely given me that. But I see it with other people who have joined the program. I can see their confidence grow week by week. And I'm sure that was me. People who saw me
Yeah.
have seen that. Um, so no, I wouldn't hesitate. And it's wonderful that you're there. You're there for us, not just on a coaching call. You're there in the background all the time, and that to me is wonderful because I think because of my emotional state when I joined the whole thing, I needed someone to hold my hand a little bit,
Mhm.
and you did that,
Thank you.
which was great. So yes, if anyone is thinking about it, and don't hesitate. Bite the bullet and just get on with it because the more you put it off, the more you'll doubt yourself and the more you'll move yourself closer to giving up.
Thanks for sharing. Um, and yeah, this is the best part, in my opinion, of the journey is helping people achieve results, because I get more, I get happier, much happier now when I see a student get a result than my own results. Um, and it's amazing to see people who are starting from scratch, or who are in the beginning stages of using Facebook, like yourself. So you didn't have many skills when it comes to Facebook, seeing the growth that you experienced and seeing the results that you are achieving now. And of course, there is always growth, more growth to achieve. But the path that you were able to go through and to the growth that you were able to experience was amazing. And that's, in my opinion, the best part of this journey. And having that mindset is so important. It's all about helping people. And when we start really helping people, it feels good. Okay, because at the beginning we always have that mindset of I want to make money. But when you guys have that shift, if you didn't have that shift yet, it will come as you, or take this lesson with you and try to implement it. When you start helping people, it really feels good, and you start seeing how you are impacting people, and that's such a great feeling. Such a great feeling. How your work is helping other people overcome obstacles and achieve results, whatever niche you guys focus on. Um, so yeah, it has been a great journey, and I look forward to seeing you where you get to and what happens in the next few months and years in your business. But yeah, true. Lesley says the truth. The very beginning is not the same for everyone. Someone's idea on the beginning using the internet, it is absolutely not the same path. Yeah. And it's important that, so what we were talking about, the beginning stages of, so Lesley mentioned something which was very important, which is that when she started watching my videos, she understood everything, and it was not difficult to understand. And that's what we need to achieve with our message, and what we do when helping people is making things simple for them to understand. Okay, and there is an app which is the Hemingway. When you are writing content, you can use that to see the grade level of your writing, and you want to write it so as many people as possible understand, regardless of their grade level. Okay, so you want to write simple. You want to make it as simple as possible for people to understand when writing, when creating videos, when talking to people and explaining something. So it's important to, and the Hemingway app helps with that. You can put your text there, for example, if you're writing a text, and it tells you the grade level and how you can improve the text so it's easier to understand. But yeah, it's talking to, so when helping beginners, it's important to understand where they are and to talk to them and explain things to them in a way that they understand. Okay, and that's why, for example, during this interview, when Lesley mentioned DMO, I made sure that I explained what's a DMO. When Lesley started talking about adding friends, I explained adding friends is what we do to grow our audiences. So those little things are important, so everyone understands, even if they are not implementing the process or they don't know what's a DMO. So it's having that approach of always making sure that if you mention something that is not known by a complete beginner, explaining what it is. So if you mention a word like DMO, explaining what it is. But yeah, not everyone's journey is the same, and it's a journey that we are constantly learning, and everyone starts with a different experience, a different background, different skill sets. Some people take less time to achieve results, some people take more time to achieve results, but results happen when we keep developing skills and we don't stop and we stay consistent for a long period of time. Masiej, yes, I'm in this, sure, same. I'm in this cycle for 2 years and I just don't trust gurus. Yeah, unfortunately, there is a lot of noise out there, and I had experiences with programs that didn't go well. But it's important not to give up because of that. It's important to keep going and to keep learning and to keep developing skills and to keep looking for the information that we need to be able to achieve the results that we want. Of course, there are a lot of gurus out there and programs out there that don't deliver what they promise, and I had bad experiences in my journey, but every bad experience I had, I looked at it as a lesson, not as something that that I could say was the thing stopping me from achieving results. It's important to keep that in mind, okay? That yes, there is a lot of noise out there, and there are programs out there that don't deliver, and we sometimes have bad experiences, but it's important to always look at it with the lens of what can I learn from this? Yes, I had a bad experience with this, what can I learn from this? And taking those lessons with us. If we have this mindset and we keep growing and extracting lessons, eventually results happen. Okay, so don't give up, Masiej, and results will eventually happen as long as you don't stop and you stay consistent with it. Okay, I understand. And you said here at a few comments later, you said, "I want to learn and improve, but the trust is gone." Totally understand that it's hard to trust other people when we, and I'm not sure what happened to you, what exactly happened to you. You say I just don't trust gurus, and I've been for 2 years trying in the same cycle. But whatever happened to you, what I recommend that you do is that you look at it as a lesson and don't let that stop you from pursuing your dreams. Okay, and remind yourself of why you started your affiliate marketing journey. why you want to do this, why you want to grow a business. And if you put your focus on that and on looking at anything that happens to you, doesn't matter how bad it was, if you have a bad experience with something, if someone scams you, whatever it is, looking at it with the lens of what can I learn from this, what lesson can I extract from this, because that mindset allows you to grow. But if we just think about this as, okay, I had this bad experience, I cannot do this, or I don't trust people anymore and I can't do this, we stop. Okay, so that mindset is very important, that perspective shift and looking at things, no matter, it doesn't matter how bad it is, if you are scammed or whatever it is, always looking at it with the lens of what can I learn from this. Okay, that growth mindset is important to have. Charlotte is asking a question to you, Lesley. Who is your avatar now? Can you share?
My avatar is the person who needs a solution that my product offers, basically.
And
So
who are those people?
So I went back to my products. I only have two products, and I dissected everything. So I went through your offer and I looked at all the problems that it resolved for people, and then focused on the people for that offer. So people who had struggled with technology, people who had thrown a lot of money at ads. I've never done ads, but there's so many people out there that say how they've spent $3,000 on ads and never seen
Yep.
any return.
You tried some solo ads or not?
Say that again. Paid
Did
ads.
did you try? You didn't try solo ads?
Well, I didn't pay for any ads,
Okay,
Andre.
so you had the clicks from OLSP.
Yes, so
Okay.
I've never spent any money on it. Um, and then the other side of the coin, of course, is OLSP. People don't have a lot of time, so they want something that's done for them.
Yeah.
And OLSP is perfect, because one of the big objections that I get quite a lot about Facebook organic is that it takes too much time when they're juggling all these other things.
Yeah.
And they also can afford to invest in something.
Yeah. And yeah, so that's the approach I recommend when defining avatars. It's always looking at the product, seeing the problems it solves, seeing the results it helps people achieve, and then thinking about the problems your target customers have, the pains they have, the goals they have, the desires they have, the false beliefs they have, and then finding those people online. Okay, so Leslie's avatar is basically affiliate marketer, so it's an affiliate who is just starting. That's more for the OLSP, and my program can also help with that, with someone who is a complete beginner. But someone who is just starting, doesn't know where to start, and you talked about people with limited time as well, and wanted them for a system when selling OLSP, and also people who are already doing affiliate marketing and struggling with what they are doing with their current plan. So if they
It's
are
not
using
working.
tech, yeah, using tech, so the same. So who you were before is one of the people you speak to, is people struggling with tech. So it's the previous version of you, or people who are running ads and not getting results. That's another angle that I use with my program, and Lesley is talking about as well. So it's thinking about the problems the product solves and then defining target customer based on that. But that's basically it. Okay, beginner affiliates, or people doing affiliate marketing already but struggling with their current approach, and it's finding the people who have the exact problems that the product can help them solve, the tech and the ads, because the product can help them avoid those, because it doesn't require tech and ads.
And the crux to all this is you have to know your product,
Yep.
which I only promoted products. I mean, not in the beginning. That first 4 months, I had no idea what my product was, but that was a valuable lesson as well, because how can you sell something that you don't know and don't understand?
And a lot of people try that. They
Yeah.
try to sell products from ClickBank, for example, that they don't know. I always recommend promoting something you guys know. Yes, it makes your life so much easier. How do you identify the correct groups, Leslie? There are so many where it is spam link situation.
I go to if I'm targeting people who are struggling with technology, I go to the technology groups and see what's happening in the technology groups. if I'm looking for people who well, actually, I don't really go looking for people who are looking for OLSP. That just happens through the chats.
Mm.
Kind of comes, the biggest thing I'm promoting is Facebook organic. So I guess I spend a lot of time throwing rocks at technology,
Yep.
basically. But I
So
go to beginners affiliate groups and I go to private groups. I don't go to public groups generally. And I sometimes pay to get in a group. So it might be a $7 investment. In fact, for one of them, I paid $50, and that was a bit steep.
yeah.
But
But what you mentioned there, so Gordon is saying there are a lot of spam link situations that usually happens in public groups. So I recommend that you avoid public groups, and that you go to private ones, because in private groups, as people need to request to join, the admin checks their answers and checks their profile before approving usually. So, and they remove any spam that happens in the group. For example, in my group you don't see spam because I'm it's a private group and I control who enters the group. I check profiles, I remove any spam that people post. Okay, so it's going to groups where the people who have the problems you are trying to solve have. Okay, so if you know that in a specific group, people are teaching funnels, and you are trying to help people avoid the funnels because you want to avoid the tech, help them avoid the tech. That's a good group to find the people you are looking for. So that depends on the people you are looking for. But yes, always private groups, and if you can get into paid groups, even better, because those people invested in themselves. So they are, when people invest, they are more serious about the business and they are more likely to buy again. Okay, because a buyer is a buyer is a buyer. Okay, so private groups, and thinking about your target customer. If you are looking for affiliate marketing beginners, groups about affiliate marketing. So not make money online, because if you go to a make money online group, you find people who are doing affiliate marketing, drop shipping, Amazon FBA. So you have all the different business models in a make money online group. But if you go to a group specifically about affiliate marketing, if that's what you are looking for is affiliates, go to a group who has a group that has affiliate marketing in the name. Okay, because in that group, everyone there is at least interested in affiliate marketing. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in the group. Okay, but yeah, the links part is avoiding public. That's where you can avoid the spamming, and you can find usually better quality leads in private groups. Anything else you want to add, Leslie?
no, I agree with all of that. I was part of a lot of public groups, and I joined them.
Yeah, me too. Joyce, don't accept friend requests. Wow. Yes, don't accept friend requests. Focus on sending friend requests yourself from groups where your target customers are, because the friend requests you receive will be not worth your time, based on my experience. Okay, it's people pitching you, scamming you, Bitcoin stuff, etc. Okay, it's not worth the time, and if you probably will get 5% of them will be your target customers. So it's much better to invest your time in adding friends yourself from groups where your target customers are, because you know that you can get many more of the right people that you are looking for. So you have the right people in your audience, which is key. I feel you there. I avoided the DMs. Yeah. So especially when we start with the DMs, it's or if talking to people is something uncomfortable, we tend to avoid it more until we get used to it. Um, or if it's something overwhelming that we don't know what to do, it can lead to avoidance as well. But it's a matter of practice. So it's as
Mm.
anything. I avoided, for example, the Facebook lives for a few weeks before I started doing lives because it was uncomfortable for me. Um, so the DMs, it's a skill that anyone can develop as any other skill. Um, and it's all about learning the steps that you need to do in the DMs and practicing a lot. Um, but yeah, the DMs give you fuel for the content. Wow, really good. Yeah, that's a big lesson I learned in my journey. In the DMs, you learn a lot about your target customer, and you can pay attention to the questions they ask, the roadblocks they share with you, the objections they share, and create content about those. Okay, that's
Yeah.
very powerful content.
I had a conversation with someone 2 days ago, and then I wrote a post. And
Yeah,
then that person said to me, looks like I inspired you.
exactly. And if one person has that question or objection or that problem, more people will have the same question, objection, or problem. So you creating a piece of content helps the other people in your audience who are in the same situation, which is always good. So you are nurturing multiple people at the same time. Instead of giving the advice to that one person, you take the idea and you use it to nurture more people in your audience at the same time. So 90 to 95% of my content ideas come from conversations. Okay. And it allows you to refine your content as well because you understand your target customers so well when you talk to them. And your content becomes better at attracting them to you. Okay. So that's why I recommend talking to people 100%. How do you mean working for Wayne in OLSP? Lesley meant that she was focusing just on promoting the product instead of building her own brand. Do you want to add anything to that, Lesley?
No, I mean that really is it. Yeah, I mean OLSP is good. I like OLSP, and I'm not saying anything bad about it, but I didn't want to be known as the person that worked for OLSP. I wanted to be known as Lesley.
Yeah, building a personal brand.
Yes, building my business that I can take anywhere.
Yeah, that was a big learning curve for me, building my brand versus promoting a product. Joyce is saying that. Yeah, that's usually also a mindset shift and a light bulb moment that people have in the
You see
journey.
a lot of people, they have their whole cover picture just dedicated to OLSP.
Yeah.
And I
And when
I
you
think
build your business that way, if the product disappears, you suffer a lot.
yeah.
But when you build it around you, it's protected. It's much more long-term oriented. It's more sustainable.
I mean, it's great for OLSP if everybody puts their cover photo with
Yeah,
OLSP. Fantastic advertising.
yeah. And who gets the long-term effect of that is Wayne.
Yes. And that's how he promotes it in the training to sell it to and
Yeah,
everyone that joins the training tells you to put your cover picture up there with
yeah.
OLSP on it.
And I understand why he does it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Wow, there's people ears. She's so cute. Oh, she's mentioning your comment about seeing people watching the live.
Oh, okay.
When you said, "Oh, wow, there's people ear."
Was so shocked. I was
Um,
also shocked that I was able to get it all to work so I could see there was even people there.
yeah. But just to make it clear, setting up a live is not difficult if you do it with the Facebook feature, which is something that is available. But when we use Zoom, and the reason why I recommend using Zoom for the lives is because with Zoom you can share your screen and your face at the same time, and you can do that with the Facebook Live feature. Um, it has a few more advantages. You have more flexibility. You can put a timer like I did here, and I think in the Facebook Live feature you can do that. Um,
You
but
have to
when
have paid Zoom as well, Andre, don't forget.
Yeah, you have to have paid Zoom as well.
Yes.
So when you guys are starting with Facebook Lives, you can just start with the Facebook Live feature, which is free. It's included on Facebook, and you don't need to figure out anything when it comes to connections between Zoom and Facebook. You start very simple, just Facebook without any tech, and you just do it. What about many now saying it is better to move them to a platform different than Facebook, like School, for example, where you can actually load your courses and charge for your programs right there, all in one place? It depends on your goal, okay? If your goal is to have a paid community, School allows you to do that much easier than Facebook because on Facebook you don't have a feature to have a paid community. Okay, so you need to charge. You need to collect payments separately and then send people to the Facebook group after they pay. Okay, so it depends on your goal. If your goal is to set up a paid community, um, School is powerful on that and it has that advantage. Yes, but the key to keep in mind is it's not about the platform. It's about what you do with the people inside the group. Okay, it's a community the same way. A community in a Facebook group or a community in School is a community. Okay, it doesn't change the fact it is on School or on Facebook group. It's still a community. And if you have the skills to monetize a community in a Facebook group, you have the skills to monetize a community in School. So the most important thing is the skills that you have to monetize it, to nurture and monetize it. Because if you don't have the skills to nurture and monetize it, it doesn't matter if you are in school on Facebook group, and it's not the fact that you change from a Facebook group to school that's going to change. It doesn't change, okay? Because it's just another platform, and the skills are what define what you do with the leads that you have, okay, and how you nurture and monetize. In the Facebook group, you can also put courses in the guide section, okay? So loading courses or loading trainings is also possible in the guide section of the Facebook group. Charging for things, it needs to be separate. For example, in my coaching program, I have a training area which is in a platform that is Kajabi, and I have a Facebook group which is the group for the program. So when people join the course, then they ask for access to the group, they request to join the group, and I approve them because I see that they bought the course. Okay, so you can also do a paid community. So my coaching program group on Facebook is paid. People need to buy the program to join. So in that case, I collect payments not on Facebook because it's not possible. I collect payments outside of Facebook via the Kajabi platform. And then when people pay, they get the access to the Facebook group. So you can still do a paid community in the Facebook group. You cannot collect payments directly via the Facebook group. Okay. In school, you can collect payments directly via school as a platform. Okay. So it's all in one. Yes, it has some advantages. Facebook groups have other advantages, but the important and the thing I want you guys to keep in mind is it doesn't matter what platform you are using. You can move people from a Facebook profile to a school community if you want. It doesn't matter. The skills are the same. Okay. It's nurturing and monetizing. And the process we do here in Facebook groups, I could do in the school community. It doesn't change anything. It's the same process. And if someone doesn't have the skills to monetize a Facebook group, they will not have the skills to monetize a school community. So it's important to keep that in mind and understand that it's just a platform. It's just a tool. Okay, it's just a tool, and without the skills, we need the skills to make tools work. Tools without skills don't work. Okay, that's basically the lesson that I want you guys to understand. Okay, I don't see anything else, so I think we can wrap this up. Thank you all for joining today. Any final words that you have, Lesley?
Thank you for showing up and giving up your time to listen to my story. And I hope it inspired. I really do. And if you're thinking of giving up, don't give up. Keep going.
Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you, André.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time today. It was an amazing interview, and I hope everyone got value from it.